Rick Hong here for Hollywood First Look. Today, I'm talking with Lily Gladstone, and we are talking her film, Killers of the Flower Moon. Let's take a first look.
The Osage,
their time is over. We got to take back control of our home.
I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
We have so many deaths, we've lost count.
There's just bad luck.
Seems more like an epidemic than bad luck to me.
Osage is dying by the enemy. Do not let them die alone.
Lily, I have to tell you, congratulations. I was at the premiere. You were fantastic. And I got to see you like on the big Dolby theater screen. I so wish you could have been there. But I have to ask, how was it getting that phone call? Okay, Lily, you're going to be in a Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro film, and you are one of the leads.
I screamed and threw my phone across the room. I remember that being my initial reaction. Because if something's that big and that exciting, my first instinct is just to kind of shoo it away from me so I can think about it from a distance. But yeah, immediately after that, and the jumping around, and then my parents, what? It settled on me that the date, I was offered the role on December 1st, which nobody planned it this way. But December 1st is Molly Burkhart's birthday. Molly Kyle was born on December 1st. So my excitement immediately was like, okay, that's real. Like, I get that moment, but I can't let that moment get in the way of what I'm here to do, which is to honor Molly's story and talk about this horrible chapter of history that the Osage remain in spite of.
What I loved about the movie is being educated. And speaking of what you have to do, can I ask you what your first day was? And did it take a bit to get into the rhythm of like, okay, I have to bring my A game? I mean, I imagine being there with like Martin Scorsese, like that part's good, but still you're on set and it's like, ugh, like I'm telling this story and I've got to give homage to somebody. And then I have all this talent, including myself, to perform this.
Right. I mean, it was all those things. The first scene that we shot was when Molly's giving Ernest the 20 questions when she invites him in for dinner, and they're sharing a cigarette, and she early on, brings back up kind of seeing him for what he is, calling him Shomikasi Coyote, which is the Osage trickster figure, particularly the hedonistic, self-serving fop one that's never ends up winning in the end. But anyways, yeah, that scene I had to, it's my home. Osage are a matrilocal people, so everything belongs to the women. When marriage happens, the man's family moves to the woman's camp. Even though name and songs and ways and the way that the family presents themselves in public is centered around the men, everything that's tangible, that's real is the woman. So I'm like, all right, I'm an Osage woman in my own house. I've got to be the most level and put him kind of on the hot seat. And yet the whole time it was Leonardo DiCaprio. And we had time to get to know each other a little bit, but this was early on in finding the Molly Ernest dynamic. So it took a few takes to get that out of my system, and then we were good. Then comes around my first scene working with Robert De Niro, and it starts all over again.
So you get the script, and you're going through the script for the first time, hearing the story and everything, or like you already probably knew some of the story, like just doing research. You get to the end kind of changes tone a little bit in terms of how Martin Scorsese decides to, and the scriptwriter decides to kind of change, like wrap up the story. How was your reaction to that?
That is where this history in American consciousness got relegated to pulp fiction, to propaganda pieces for the FBI. As, we all know that true crime podcasts are a really hot commodity, and that's got a lot of its roots in these old radio plays that would do the same to sell Lucky Strike cigarettes. It calls the film into that narrative as well. It calls itself into question and its own complicity with this story becoming a form of entertainment, but it does so in a compassionate way after having seen something that feels so real and having so much grief to process over watching what you just did. But then choosing to end the film, the final image of Osage today, doing what it takes to keep community together and moving forward and doing it in their way. It was really important, and we talked about this a lot during the making of the film because the ending took a lot of different forms before it ended up being what it is. But the important thing was to remind people that Osage are still here, you know, in spite of what you just watched. These are real people. It's not a Pulp Fiction story. It wasn't something that left a people defeated.